because I'm on my phone. Should I grab my laptop, do you think, to get on Facebook, or should I be able to do it on my phone too?
We're live, man.
Oh,
Either way. Yeah, we're live. Hey guys,
right.
we are we're streaming across my first Facebook page, Inner Wealth Global business page, and my YouTube channel. And while I'm setting this up, Brad is going to be sharing to his personal Facebook page from my page. So we are all right. We are absolutely live across all of them, guys. Man, I'm like really freaking pumped for this. I am super pumped, and Brad just left, but I'm pumped.
I'm still here. I was trying to get it to my Facebook, but let's just keep going.
Let me tell you why I'm pumped. This guy right here, Brad Kroepfl, we met at a mastermind intensive retreat weekend years ago, and we started working together, and it's like the universes collide. Our universes collide, and we realized in a lot of cases we're like the same person but just different. Some of the traits, some of the things that Brad loves, I love. Some of the things that I love, Brad loves. We recognize that we're spiritual brothers that are here to work with people and help them get the very, very best out of themselves in life. The cool part is Brad didn't see this in the beginning, and I saw it clearly. And now Brad is stepping into all of this. And I think there was a lot of some doubt and some shame and some things that Brad was working through. But I saw it very, very early. And I use some woo-woo frickin' tools called soul sciences, human design, and Gene Keys. And Brad, I remember when I pulled up your Gene Keys profile and I said, you know what? I've always wanted to work with a spiritual warrior, and I got one. And you were it. You were number one, man. I am so excited to have you here, brother. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Facebook Live.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm excited to be here too. I knew this day was coming eventually, and it's just, here it is.
Yeah, well, I think it was last week. Brad said, and maybe one day, and I was like, well, it's one day. Let's go. There's no reason to hold this thing off. Brad, introduce yourself. Tell us, tell everybody where you're from, what you're doing, and let's start setting up some of the transformation that you made, because it has been a transformation. Your life hasn't changed. It's transformed. So go ahead and set that up a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm from Woodland Hills, Utah. So I live up in the mountains of Utah. I love the outdoors, spend a lot of time out in the sun, the snow, whatever the seasons are. Adventure it calls my name every day. So you can find me on everything that I can find with two wheels: mountain biking, dirt bikes, motorcycles, and fitness is another thing that's very, very key to me. Spend a lot of time in the gym and working on myself. And I quickly found through my fitness journey how much that also helps me with my mental capacity and my mental abilities. So that's really what gets me in the gym. And now I got the physical attributes that are benefits from spending all the time in the gym. So it did kind of set up and cue up the transformation just a handful of years ago when we met at that mastermind. It was a real estate focused mastermind. And I was really getting into real estate investing and really trying to hone in on that opportunity that I still see a lot of value in. Quickly after working through that and having success there, I was just going through a lot of, I guess you'd call them internal challenges. And I wasn't quite sure how to approach them. And I was looking for different ways to understand them, to be guided through them, and just really what's holding me back. Where are these struggles coming from? Where are these challenges coming from? And that's when we aligned. We right after the mastermind, we kicked it off when we met in person. We stayed in touch via Facebook, and eventually I'm just like, it's time to work with Mike. So that's how we ended up working together.
True. Your life, you're not the same person that I met. And it's funny, I did my 5-mile run today, and you just said something else that we didn't set this up, but you just said something else. Today, on my mastermind call with Inner Wealth Global Mastermind, I set up that there are I gave them 6 tools to help like hone your mind and your emotions. And then when I was on my run today, I said, wait a minute, there's 7, and that's physical fitness.
Mm.
Like
Yes.
the more clean and clear you are from a physical perspective, the more clean and clear you are from a mental and emotional perspective. So that's another area of overlap that we set up without even trying. So Brad, talk about, when we first met, you were in a really dark place and a darker place. And I don't want to stay here, but there are definitely people out there that are in that same space, man. And connect with that a little bit. Tell them where you were mentally and emotionally.
The biggest challenge to that for me was I didn't realize where I was. I knew that I was seeking more, and honestly, I was kind of masking it with the let's call it the focus on my personal development, actually better said, my professional development. So I started looking into coaching and everything from more of just a professional attribute, just going, hey, I want to grow, I want to get better. And then I quickly saw that as I was continuing to learn things on a professional side, that a lot of people within these worlds were actually pulling in a lot of the personal development, and I'm like, wait, I signed up for this. Why are we doing this like focus on, why are we talking about meditation? Why are we doing this and that, and I quickly saw that, I was missing a key component, and that was working on the inner side of myself. And it wasn't until I started diving into that personal development that I find kind of that darkness and kind of those shadows and things that I was facing unknowingly. They were part of who I was. And I'd say one of the natural attributes I have is just to kind of look at pain through a different lens and maybe not even recognize it anymore, kind of just shove it away, So it's, once I started to identify these things, that's kind of opened up the depths of it and brought in a little bit more of the darkness. That's one thing I would say about personal development is it gets a little rocky at times, right? It gets heavy, and because you start uncovering these things that you weren't even aware of. So that was the biggest thing, is it brought a ton of awareness to me of what was going on internally that was affecting my external world. And that led me to diving in deeper and deeper on that focus of things, and led to the transformation that we're speaking of.
Yeah. And sometimes people just say, there's some worry, doubt, fear, insecurity, some inadequacies, some levels of some stories of insignificance. And they just say, well, that's who I am. Like, that's not who you are. That's like, we got some work to do. Because that's not who you are. Let's let go of that shit. And I think that's what you're talking about in terms of when you start really reflecting on those stories that are in there, you start to see the pain that's inside, that you just identify, well, it's just who I am, and that's how I operate. And we think that sometimes they're motivators, but when we really get in there and start cleaning these beliefs up and start cleaning these stories up, life becomes really fun. It becomes a lot juicier, right? And we shift from doing things out of insecurity, inadequacy, insignificance, and start to move into an inspired place, something that's aligned with our life path. And that's the shift you made. That's the shift you made. So what has that done to your professional development and to your relationship with your wife and your kids?
Okay. So from the professional development, it's just really opened my eyes to, as you just called it, the juicier, funner side of things. Is I felt I was already having a lot of fun within my professions. And then I also found that maybe I was forcing a lot of things. That came up a lot with me, forcing a lot of things to go a very specific way. And once I realized that I can still be successful without forcing a predetermined outcome, that really brought back the creative aspect of things. I found that when I was forcing a lot, it really hindered my creativity, and it really it made me a bit more indecisive, right? Because I was maybe over analyzing things, and from more of probably from a form of protection is how I'd say it, is because of my upbringing and things that I became aware of throughout this process. Is I was at a young age, I was always responsible for kind of taking care of myself and making sure I had to make ends meet on a lot of just simple things and tasks that not everybody has to do at that age, right? And it served me for a while, and it led me to in a great way. But I quickly found, hey, these things are no longer serving me, right?
Yeah.
So that really gave me a lot more capacity in life once I started to let go of these things that didn't serve me. And then I can hone in and focus on these other aspects, like my relationship, to to increase and dive into that. So with the relationship with my wife, I mean, to be honest, I would have told you before I started doing any of this work, I thought I already had it made. I thought I had the best relationship. I was married to my friend. We have 3 amazing kids. We have a home of our dreams. I mean, things are going great, you know, and we didn't argue, we didn't fight. And there was a lot of inner work that I needed to do first, then to be able to bring it out and give her a new level of safety that I didn't know I wasn't providing. And so she could be comfortable to open up herself. And that was the biggest thing that I realized is unknowingly in our relationship, she had a form of feeling unsafe that didn't allow her to completely open up into her feminine and into herself. And by me working on myself, I've been able to really allow her to open up and see how that benefits everybody around me, right? So just working on myself, I've been shocked to see how beneficial that's been for everybody that's in my circle.
Right. And there's an element sometimes, and I was in a place in my marriage as well. There's an element where there's something I think I need to be okay. So I put pressure on her, my wife, and I put pressure on her, and which ultimately makes her feel unsafe, which takes away her ability to actually deliver what I'm asking for. And it kind of paralyzed her. And I saw a little bit of that. And let's be clear. Brad didn't clear all this with just me. Brad's part of other coaching groups too, and other communities of men, and had surrounded himself with a lot of really healthy men. And his wife also surrounded herself with a lot of really healthy women. So, you know, you become who you surround yourself with. So it goes farther and deeper than just our work together. This is like a lifelong adventure for you to really unpack who you are, not who you say you are. And it's been a spiritual journey. And that's when I said the spiritual warrior, that's exactly what I meant. It's your ability to get inside of you and analyze and be truthful and be honest with who you really are, and start letting go of the stories of who you're not. And I know it's had a huge impact on your life, but not everybody is as hungry as you are, Brad. And that's what makes you that warrior. So let's talk about your fitness for a second, because here's what I see. I see a guy that's all tatted up, right? Used to have more of a mohawk, so less of a mohawk now, but big ass arms, big ass legs. And when I picture you, you're running up freaking mountains. Tell us about your physical adventures that you enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, again, the physical adventures started probably 9 to 10 years ago. I realized that I was putting on some weight and I wasn't able to do the hobbies that I wanted to at the best of their ability. That combined with the fact that I just had my 3rd child, and it was very important to me to be able to keep up with my kids. I didn't want to be one of those fathers that came home every day after work, was exhausted, sat on the couch all day watching TV, drinking beer, and that's that, right? Yeah. I really wanted to be active with my kids and be able to encourage them to be active. And so that's where my fitness journey started. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, is I quickly noticed how much it helps me beyond the physical aspect, and what it did for mental clarity and really helping me there, you know, kind of calm the storm and everything. So since then, fast forwarding to now, I've really, really honed in on my fitness, because I've seen, again, the benefits. It's like the more focus I put on my fitness, the more capacity I have for more things in the rest of my life, which I think is very important to put in front of people's faces, because a lot of people put off the gym because they don't have the time. Or again, it doesn't have to be the gym, any form of physical fitness. You love to run, right? I mean, just getting out there and exerting yourself and doing something good for yourself physically, it's amazing how much more capacity that gives you for the rest of your day. And it really opens up a lot more time per se. It's funny, it consumes some time, sure, but then the alertness and everything else that's going on within just makes you that much more productive on every other element of life. And I mean, and it's not just production from work. I mean, even the way you can show up with your family, the way you show up with your friends. I mean, it's 100% correlated, and it's been a huge benefit to me, and which is why I'm consistently putting focus on that right now. And to finish that up, I'm at the end of a 12-week program that I actually put together myself utilizing artificial intelligence. I'm currently the leanest I've ever been, the most muscular I've ever been, and by far the best shape I've ever been at 39 years old, and not too far away from 40. So that's my goal, is to go into my 40s in the best shape I've ever been.
What a great segue. And we've got a little bit of audio like disruption here, so we'll try to work through that. But that's a great segue. So AI, you just wrote a book about AI, and you're utilizing AI. You're at like your tip of spear, and you're utilizing AI in a lot of different dimensions and a lot of different areas of your life, and you're using it creatively. Tell us a little bit about your adventures in AI and kind of how you got that spark, right?
Yeah. So the spark started as soon as I was aware of what AI was. I'm very into tech. I love those kind of things. I love new tools. And I was like most people, I wasn't sure where to start with it. You know, you start to jump online and you get bombarded with millions of apps that they're trying to sell you things, in-app purchases, all this kind of stuff. Wasn't even sure where to go. Obviously, OpenAI from ChatGPT is a very, very popular. It's been the market leader for the longest stretch of time. I finally found what I was looking for in terms of that, and just started playing with it and just, okay, hey, what is this? What can this do? Started like most people, just playing around, asking it goofy questions, making some funny images with the kids, you know, and kind of went from there. And it wasn't until I came across an Instagram story, a prompt, that really opened up my mind to what AI is capable of. And that's where I went with this book. Is this whole book is designed around giving people thought-provoking ways to use it, or just, hey, maybe this is that one thing they need to hear or see that is going to open it up into their mind of, wow, if it can do that, it can do this. And so what that example was is they were utilizing a business example where they said, hey, I'm going to explain my business to you, and this is what I'm looking to do in my social media engagement. But now I want you to ask me questions about my business to do that. So that's where it all came from, is being able to ask it questions about what you're looking to produce. And then that really made me go, wait a second, if it can ask me questions and then my responses are going to give it the details on my business, how is this any different than working with a professional in this space, another human in this space, right? So that's what really opened up my mind to it, to where it's like, wow, if it's capable of that, how about this? How about this? And it just led me down the rabbit hole to where I'm at today.
So give us an example. What's the coolest thing that you've ever had it like query you about to create? Like, just pick one.
Okay. Honestly, the decision to write the book. So I put it into ChatGPT. I had a couple ideas of some things that I've really been wanting to bring to life, a lot of creative aspirations. And one of them is I'm very, very disciplined, and I have a lot of consistency in my life. That's one of my biggest strengths, is my discipline. So I've had the idea of writing a program about helping people cultivate discipline within and utilizing the tools that I had. I've been working on it for a little bit, had a lot of different things going on in my life, pulling me different directions. And then as I was continuing to develop my AI knowledge, I had the idea of writing the book, because I quickly realized there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from hearing the way that I engage with AI to help them and find ways that they can use it. So in short, I went to ChatGPT, gave it both my concepts, and asked it to do the market research for me. What is the most viable thing, and what should I bring out to market first? And it was amazing. I mean, it literally gave me pros and cons. It made graphs and charts and did all this segment analysis, which it actually, the funny thing is, I think it's very important to share. Its first response was telling me to do all these things. Hey, you should do market research. You should do this. You should do that. Then I go, wait a second, I'm talking to AI. You do this. And it spit it all out in one massive response. And it was clear as day. It's like, while these are both very viable and they will do very well, this is why you should start with the book first, focusing on AI. And that's where it led me to now. And I just took the action, and now I got a book out.
That's super cool. Yeah. And I met up, this is before I knew Brad was involved in AI. I met up with another AI guy, and he took, paid him a little money, and he took all of my blogs, all of my podcasts, all of my books, and a shit ton of content, and programmed ChatGPT to act and speak and know my content. And it's called Mike Kitko AI. And I'm actively using it in my business for the creative side. And Brad and I connected on this right before we jumped on, because on the podcast episode that just launched today, I said it was talking about the or not today, maybe last week, but it talked about the creative process. When I'm ready to write a chapter or a blog, I speak into my AirPods. Then I take that and transcribe it. And then I take that and put it through my Kitko AI to clean it up and edit it. And I've got like a book close to being finished. And blogs, that's how I write my blogs now. So I'm gifted at spoken word. And since I'm gifted that way, why would I sit behind a typewriter and type? It just doesn't make any sense. Use what you're good at. So how about like what's another effective, powerful way that you've used it to help move the needle in your life?
This may not be the most, say, effective needle moving thing, but this is something that I felt had a big impact for my family. So one of the things that I noticed once I realized how to create custom GPTs, which is what you're discussing, is it trained GPT to know about you or a very specific topic, subject, whatever it may be, right? And I love to solve problems. And I just gotten aware of how to create these GPTs at this time. And I was excited to put something to use. And at that time, my wife was complaining a little bit about a struggle and a challenge that she had with being the house giver or house care. She handles all her groceries and she handles her dinners and everything there. So it was family meal planning she was just struggling with. She's like, man, it's so discouraging to put all this work into it every Sunday to plan out all these weeks. And every dinner we have somebody who's upset, or we have somebody who it's missed out on, or maybe I missed a mark here, And so what I did is I went to ChatGPT and created a custom GPT to become our family meal planner. And I'm sure a lot of people have played with a ChatGPT, and you could say, hey, create me a recipe, this and that, but that wasn't enough for me. I mean, we wanted something that was really curated to our family. So I told it what I was looking to accomplish, and then asked it for feedback on how to accomplish it. And in short, what it did is it suggested that I create a custom Google form that each of my family members could fill out that goes over their dietary preferences. So it spit out an idea of what I should do. Then I go, well, wait a second. Again, I'm talking to AI. You create the form for me, so I could just copy and paste it into this form. And it did it. So I didn't have to do all the radio buttons and make this whole thing. It made it importable right into a Google form. I sent that to each of my children and my wife and myself. We all filled them out. Then I was able to put all that data per person into a custom GPT. So now it's trained on their dietary preferences. And then I decided, hey, let's take it one step further. I've been macro tracking for my fitness needs. And so I was able to see what our very frequent meals have been over the last 30 days. I gave it those meal names, and then it created a radio button form, like a 1 to 5 rating, that I sent to each family member as well, so they could look at our frequent meals and see what each person liked. And that way we could see where our averages were on, hey, this is a 4.3, rating for the family. So this is a good one that you could have once a week or whatever it may be, right? So now Amanda could jump on there on a Sunday and just say, okay, hey, this is what we actually consumed last week. It could go as far as saying, Brad's going to be out of town this day for this reason, so we don't have to worry about his dietary needs on that day. And it'll spit out tons of suggestions, and you just fine tweak it from there. But it's the amount of time it saves and just removes all this mental bandwidth. It's amazing.
That's fantastic. How many of these things do you have that are in use on a regular basis?
Probably 24 at the moment.
24. Holy cow. Because I was thinking, I thought I remember you saying the word 9, but 24, it just keeps getting bigger.
It does.
But when did you catch the bug? Like, I mean, do you remember when you caught the bug and you saw because for me, AI went from a concept to be scared of to, I start asking silly questions, and all of a sudden I've got one that's speaking like me. But when was that moment that you knew that you were going to, it was going to be a path for you to pursue, not just a tool to use?
It actually was just December last year is when it really became evident that this is much more than just a little app on my phone I'm going to use every once in a while. That I just saw how it just connected with the way that I think and the way that I like to accomplish things. I mean, much like the example you just used, that you're gifted in the spoken word. So why spend all this time, using a tool that's not your strength? And I quickly saw how this just my mind and the way I think just aligned with what AI is doing and the way it's going. So it was December last year when I really dove in and started to open it up. went to a certification class in January as well to just really open up my mind to what tools already exist, how they're working, how to best correlate with them. I have since joined also a mastermind for AI as well. So we're doing weekly calls. And I mean, that's almost overwhelming with how much that stuff's changing. I mean, it's every week, it's like the updates of what just came out feels like what you would think would take 3 to 4 months to do. And it's just in a week, right? So it started in December and I haven't let off since. And that's where my book title came from, is AI Everyday Guide. And it's really emphasizing just utilizing AI every day, and why that's going to benefit you is because just using it as, say, a search engine instead of using Google, just use that, prompt that, ask it what you're looking that you typically use on Google, and you're going to get examples of how it works. And then you're going to be able to utilize it in different ways. You're going to be like, wow, I didn't think of using it this way. Instead of just Googling, you're looking for a product and you want to do comparisons, you can do it right there. And you're going to remove all the burden of searching through a million websites, going through all the ads. I mean, it will do the work for you. And what's amazing about it is, just like an employee or a colleague or anything, if it doesn't give you what you're looking for, then you just need to set the expectation and give it a little bit more details of what you're looking for. And it doesn't quit, it'll just keep going until you get what you want. So that's the rabbit hole that I started in December, and I haven't got out of it yet.
Yeah, and I keep finding more uses for it and find more value in it and find more ways to. And I'm just dealing with one GPT, right? So you're dealing with friggin' 24. But what are you in your? I know you just launched a book. What does the next phase of Brad's life look like on the AI journey, and how you help people with it?
Yeah, so that's still being developed right now. And again, we've worked together for a little bit. Instead of trying to force something, an idea that I have, I'm trying to leave myself very open to where this journey is going to bring me. What I do foresee, and where things are already kind of pulling me, is I plan to create some different kind of video courses for people who are looking for that want a little bit more depth than what the book provides. I'm also looking in and have already started doing some one-on-one consulting and maybe coaching, even similar to like you've worked with on getting a custom GPT for somebody that needs that. And just really right now, I'm just having a blast engaging with people and having these open dialogues and discussions and seeing where it takes things, because that's really allowing me to see other people's perceptions and what they need and what I can offer them to kind of close the gap.
Yeah, and for you, I'm just doing a little bit of brainstorming right now. It's almost like do it yourself, do it with a group, or do it with you, right?
Yeah.
Different offerings for this AI stuff, where maybe there's just a container of learning that you populate, that you fill up, or maybe there's some done for you services that you provide. And you've got a lot of. You're tip of spear, man, and you've got a lot of opportunity to really help a lot of people and do really well for yourself too, with the knowledge that you've attained. I do want to make something else notable, where you said it right, and this is you, Brad. When there's something you want, you have no problems investing in yourself, in joining masterminds and going to training programs and things like that. So when there's a nugget of insight, and the entrepreneurial journey is all about the cheat code, and you're always after the cheat code. You're always after, like, that. The image I get in my mind is when you go to the airport, that like escalator that's in the middle of the floor. Like, you just get on the escalator, and when you're walking, you can just walk faster, right? You don't get on it and stop. You just keep walking and you get there faster. Like, that's what you do with education, and that's why you're advanced, and that's why you're in this space.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
How can people get a hold of you right now? If they need something systematized, if they want to learn more, if they want something programmed in the AI space, where can they get a hold of you, and where can they find your book?
Okay, so the best way to get a hold of me right now is just social media. So my name, Brad Kroepfl. Spelling's a little difficult there, but we'll get some links out there, I'm sure. And you can also find my book on Amazon, which has all my contact information, has a QR code for additional resources as well. And we're still finalizing the website, but ridestrategies.com, that is live right now. So it at least does have a way to contact me through there as well.
And say that again, ridestrategies.com.
Ride Strategies. Sorry. So RIDE strategies.com.
ridestrategies.com. That's where you can access Brad and kind of get a flavor for him, get into his ecosystem so that you can take advantage and leverage AI as well. Brad, is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners, with the watchers, with the audience that you haven't?
There's one more message that I think will resonate with a lot of your audience, is because this is something that you put a big emphasis on, is the power of clarity. And, you know, when we worked together, I kept beating my head against the wall and just going, Mike, what's the damn answer? You know, where like, I'm not getting the clarity. I'm not seeing this. And there's so many different ways that it comes to you. Right. And for me, clarity in having this digital ally, ChatGPT or AI, has really helped me find a form of clarity, because anytime that I had some indecision or a question, or I wanted to analyze something, it's readily available 24/7 whenever I need it. Right. And it's important that you don't look at it as like its response is always the clear-cut answer. Right. I'm the type that where I'm always going to go in a little deeper. If I don't completely understand it or don't completely resonate with it, I'm going to ask it further questions and continue.
Right.
So I just want to encourage people to use this resource as another way to just get that daily clarity that you may be looking for on any topic that you're looking for. And it just continue to engage with it a little bit every day. So I would start a conversation potentially just calling it clarity, and go back to it every day and further your conversation with it, further the questioning, give it more answers, ask it to ask you questions. And I think you'd be shocked how quick it will help you align with what you're looking for, so you can take those further steps. And what that's really helped me for is, even you mentioned investing in yourself and the masterminds and everything there. You're going to get so much more impact in those areas when you have already kind of figured out your clarity.
Yeah. And clarity is ever changing, right? As we evolve and grow as entrepreneurs, as human beings, so does our clarity, and so does our vision. So it's just staying ever present and staying evergreen with that, making sure that it doesn't own you, that you take an opportunity to own your vision and own your clarity. Brad, it's been a lot of fun having you here, brother. Let's do this again. And we'll come back when you release books number 2 through 100. And, you know, as you launch new things and as you learn more about AI, I'd love to have you back so you can share it with the world.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Mike. Really do.
Awesome, guys. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. And I hope you got to know Brad a little bit, the spiritual warrior, man. You were my first.
I appreciate it, man. And it's been an awesome journey, and we're going to keep going at it.
We're just getting motherfucking started. All right, guys. Talk soon.
See you, Mike.